Okay, so first of all, how does it feel to be closing the Venice Film Festival with your movie?
Well, especially today with the process that we're outside. I mean, it's a bit nerve-wracking, but it's fantastic. It's a great honor, and obviously I really hope it's going to help our small film to get the visibility that we need.
And what an interesting cast you managed to assemble here. So I love the variety, and how did that all come together, and how did you...
By chance, and also because the script was very beautiful, the dialogues are very well written, and I think they were attracted to this character. They are so nuanced and also a bit scary, most of them. But I was very, very lucky. They're just fantastic actors. I had pleasure to work with.
And what was your kind of starting point? Or was there one character? Was there one person? How did you sort of build your story?
We started with Elizabeth actually, and then after Elizabeth, Claes came on board, and then Donald, then Mick Jagger was the last one. But it was very quick, the whole process, and very surprising, obviously.
No, it's great. And what is it about the sort of art world that you were interested in? What did you like about that setting?
Well, obviously, we're not trying to do a satire of the art world. Obviously, it's more, a setting for this little story that we're telling, which is about truth, basically. And I thought that the art world really works here because there's too much money involved nowadays and too little morals, possibly. It all changed in the 70s, when art started to be seen as an investment rather than a pleasure to look. And so I think it's very pertinent, even to our society in a way today.
And so James is someone who comes across initially as very charming, but also slightly on the edge, which kind of unravels. How did that story unfold?
Well, he's very ambitious. He's a very ambitious young man, as Donald Sutherland says, is the character Donald, obviously, definitely. And he's consumed by this ambition, and that's what makes him do the things that he does.
And then when he meets Berenice, again, for different reasons, but they're both quite closed off, and neither of them really wants to give too much away of each other. So that kind of game must have been interesting to...
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the characters in the film wear a mask, more than one even. But the mask that Berenice wears comes out very quickly, and we see the truth behind it, and that's why things happen. I can't say much.
Also, the relationship that she has with Demi and the relationship that James has is very different. They sort of see very different things, don't they? So they kind of, there's also that where you can meet someone and have a completely different experience depending on it.
Yeah, I guess, James is very much self-absorbed and he doesn't want to see behind the mask because it's just too much work for him. While Debney, who again, he himself wears many masks, but I think he sees under Berenice's mask much earlier and in an easier way.
Elizabeth was talking about sort of this whole idea of women as well, and trust, and who you trust and how you trust. I was saying to her, there is not giving anything away, but there is moments when you're just like, no, or you want to kind of shout at the screen, and just be like, you're not going to do this. You're not, oh you are. There's those kind of moments.
Well, you should ask her, but. I mean, yes, there were moments like that. Obviously, it's very intense, it's a very intense little film, and I think for an actor, some roles are more difficult than others, more challenging at least, and I think her role in particular was very tricky.
And how was it to work with Mick? Because obviously he hasn't done that many film roles, so it is...
No, but look, when I went to meet him, it was already not the Mick Jagger, the rock star, it was already in acting mode. And it's funny because when he came on set, the moment he set foot on set, he was the actor, so it was very easy, he was very humble, very sweet, very willing to cooperate and do more and again, more takes. So it was easy at the end. It was very easy. I mean, I had to put aside my idea that I had of him as, big Jagger rock star. What am I doing here with him? But it was very easy at the end.
And then the beautiful setting, the house where they get to stay. How hot was it to get to go film in Italy? Was that a pleasant experience?
Well, it was, because I wanted to give it a feel of an old school film noir from the Hollywood golden age. So I didn't think that Florida would have worked for that. I wanted to be more like, to catch teeth, sort of, Hitchcockian atmosphere. And also the way they're dressed and their beauty is very much like, like movie stars, from the golden age. Elizabeth was styled after Kim Novak, for example, the chignon. And obviously Klaes could be the new Cary Grant. Yeah. And I wanted them to be very handsome, very beautiful, in a beautiful setting, almost stylized in the way, they were shot.
There was also themes of being creative and creativity with the artists, and you can go into that a little bit. When do you feel that you're most creative? Is it when you're coming up with the ideas and thinking about things? Is it when you're on set? Is it?
It's always on set, because as a director, when you get on set, you have to do control management. There are so many things that can go wrong, and you have to take decisions straight away. And I think that's where the creativity comes out. Just let's do this because it's cheaper and it's more effective, and sometimes it's even better.
You can't be too set, I guess, in your decisions. You have to be fluid.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, especially in a small film like this one. It's not. We shot in 25 days. So you have to be quick and effective and concentrated.
Yeah. And what about your own do you collect art yourself? Are you interested? Do you have a lot of artwork, and have something particular that is really personal to you? Do you have that?
Yeah, no, I do collect photographs. I'm a big fan of Wolfgang Tillmans, and I have some works of him. But yeah, I wish I had Mick Jagger's money to buy everything I wanted to, but unfortunately not. So.
But nice to be able to show the film in Venice, which is a very beautiful city and lots of art. It seems to fit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I mean, you can't go wrong in Venice. But yes, I'm very happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Hope it goes well.
Yeah.
I'm sure you find that a lot of people probably all gone.
I have been lucky in the sense that I've often been quite interesting, quite isolated male lens and male gaze. Women I've always feel to a degree actually objectify or idealise.
That, because that would give everything away.
Yeah. Where are you guys right now?
So we're from AP, but based in London. Yes. Going back tomorrow. Back to the miserable London weather.
It was a little grey. Yeah, it sort of turned on. What day is it today? Saturday. It turned on Thursday. It was really so hot before, wasn't it?
I know. Boo.
I know.
Anyway, never mind. Okay. So, where we go? Before I start. So I guess first of all, how does it feel to come and close the Venice Film Festival with a movie?
It feels really lovely. I've never been to Venice. I've never been to the festival. And, when you make anything, you just sort of hope that, well, to be honest, when you make an independent film, you hope people will just watch it. You just think, I hope somebody watches this. So it's just lovely to think that, someone's going to watch it and that somebody liked it,
And do you very much look to choose these kind of projects in between the bigger thing? Do you like to do independent and support independent films? Is it a different experience?
Yeah. It's different. It's different in terms of the scale. And I guess the way that manifests is things like the length of a shoot. I was going to say how quickly you shoot, but that's not always the case. That's always just sort of based on a director, really. So, to me, independent films and something, I guess, bigger or more mainstream, or I don't know. Maybe what I'm doing now would be considered. I never really know, what falls into what category. And to be honest, I'm sort of just this strange creature that does the same thing regardless of if 5 people are going to watch my movie or 5 gazillion squillion people. So it's the same process for me, you know. I think that the material that you can sort of get access to in the independent film sector is very juicy and interesting to me, because you can obviously take more risks when you have less cooks in a kitchen often, you know, and maybe less money too, but then that's the compromise you're making. So I guess in terms of independent film, you can often just have, like, it's a very, very beautiful thing and a gift when you can just have one very strong vision that's writing a script and wants to direct it, and you just have one person sort of scoop in and do that. But then again, I'm working with Chris Nolan at the moment, who I believe is that kind of auteurish filmmaker, you know, who does have that strong vision and just makes that film, even though it's on a different scale to this movie. So yeah.
So it's basically good roles. That's what it boils down to.
That's it for me, yeah. Which is always going to come out of the writing, really. Yeah.
And then Bernice is a great character. She's very interesting. She's quite mysterious.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. I think what's interesting about this movie is, you know, that it sort of is a really juicy dialogue about subterfuge and agenda and truth. For me, when I read it, I thought this is such an interesting conversation to have about the concept of trust for women, and why we trust and why we would ever want to trust in a world that's so untrustworthy, and a sort of human need for connection and intimacy and to be seen by people. I mean, I think what's beautiful about the relationship between my character and the character that Donald Sutherland plays in this is that, you know, for my character Berenice, what happens when she meets that character is she feels seen. And that to me is a very interesting thing to kind of like really, you know, talk about as a human, but also on screen, because I just think that what we're looking for so much of us all the time is to be seen and to be heard and be understood. And it's very rare when that happens in life, really. You know, it's probably the reason why people sort of do couple with somebody, because you think, oh, you see me, you hear me, you understand me. And then when things fall apart, it's sort of like, you don't see me, you don't hear me, you don't understand me. And that goes for all kind of relationships in life, you know. And I guess how we want to situate ourselves in life, and like what kind of work we decide to do, we're all kind of looking for that thing where you feel, I don't know, free and like held by that. And that happens with their character. And I think she wants that to be happening with the character of James, and she kind of trusts, and she's a woman who feels like she can fix something that's wrong, and I think that there's a goodness to her, you know. But also when I read her in the script, I thought such an interesting conversation for me as a woman to like have on screen, and I think women can really identify with this sense of somebody who is very intelligent and very intuitive, who has all these very sort of, I think she's actually quite connected to herself in terms of her instincts, but because of what's happened in her life, she's really thrown off her access point. And she's sort of disassociated in a way. She's like, when we meet her in the film, I think she's somebody who's very sort of suspended. And she's just floating around. She doesn't quite know what to do. We can all identify with that feeling, you know. And so in a way, she kind of just sort of latches onto someone who she hopes might reveal himself to be somebody good, you know. And there's a few moments in the film, because it sort of is this sort of thriller. There's a few moments that, you know, for me certainly, looking at it in terms of my character in the film, there are these tipping points that I feel like women, like you said, women go, well, don't do that, you know, and we all kind of do that thing, it's that typical thing in a movie when you go, don't do the thing, because all our intuition tells us not to. And I was just having a conversation with a woman before, I think women are so intuitive, you know, and we have to be, because we live in a very predatorial world, and unfortunately that's the truth, and it still is the truth. And I say, let's do Take Back the Night rallies again. We need them, because statistically, in terms of violence against women, it's not something that's going away, it's something that is increasing, and it's a tragedy, it's horrific, you know, and it happens all the time, and it's not about levels of intelligence, or it's not about it's anything socioeconomic. It's just about what you might fall prey to based on what it is you're sort of wanting in life, or just falling into the wrong situation with somebody, you know. And again, like, I really mean it. It's about sort of coerciveness and like codependence and wanting connection with someone, just unfortunately falling into the hands of the wrong person, you know. And she knows, I mean, going back to that thing about intuition in women, she knows that she shouldn't, but she does anyway, you know. And I think that that's just such a human condition, to know you shouldn't do something, and just for a second you don't listen to that voice. And then you watch that unfold, you know. But it's a very real thing. We do it all the time, don't we? It's like in smaller ways and then in much bigger ways. I really shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should cross the street right now, walking home from the tube, or you know, whatever it is, you know.
No, you're totally right. No, that's really interesting because I think you're. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you. You know, spending like all of a sudden 6 months in London was just fucking amazing. So, and also, I did 2 other films. Camera is wrong.
Okay, so first of all, how's it to be in Venice?
It's lovely. I've been to Venice before just as a tourist, and it's as lovely as ever. Really, I love it. Yeah.
And then, okay, so when we meet James, he's obviously very charming, but a little bit on the edge.
Yes, I mean, he seems a bit on the edge, doesn't he? There's something not quite right there. Yeah. He seems very sort of keen to sort of get himself back in the loop, doesn't he? Because he's fallen a bit out of favour with the whole business, and now he thinks he's got his chance to sort of come back, and well, yeah.
Yes, we see what happens. And then he meets Berenice at all of his lectures.
Yes.
What does he see in her? What's he attracted to?
She's just amazing, isn't she? She's just beautiful and lovely and just there. And I think what is the biggest mistake he makes is that she could actually sort of be his way out of that whole thing that he's gotten himself into. He could just leave it all and just go off with her, but for some reason he decides to keep on his little track of self-destruction, sort of, yes.
But then they're also, she's also quite mysterious and not.
Yeah.
So that together they're not really giving each other much of each other, are they? They're sort of.
Is this weird little game that where they're sort of like who's who and who's playing who here, and I think he's got something that he seems quite paranoid, doesn't he? He's like all his paranoia is easily trigged, so that he can't sort of really find out exactly who she is. It sort of gets him quite paranoid, and that sort of also helps him to sort of self-destruct and yeah.
And then they go off to this beautiful house out in Italy, which looks amazing. And then sort of what kind of happens from there? What do we see unfold? Without giving the story away.
Yes. Well, what happens? I mean, it has a little bit of a Dr. Faustus sort of thing to it. The story, right? He's sort of, that thing from a mafia film where they give you an offer you can't refuse. Sort of. He's. I mean, an opportunity presents itself to him in this house, and he actually sort of has no choice. He has to sort of try and go for it, and then. This thing that we can't sort of say happens, and he's trapped, and that's quite cool, I think.
And then, for those things you got to work with Mick Jagger, which must be quite an unusual thing for an actor, because he's not like done a lot of acting. So
no.
How was that? Was it weird to kind of meet a music legend in that?
Yeah, well, I mean. Obviously, I think it's more sort of before where you're like, fuck, I probably need to sit down because I might faint when he walks into the room, which I didn't. But it's like, obviously you think it's going to be, but then you start. You just start working, and it's just like this is today's co-worker, and yesterday was someone. It's not, and that makes it sound as if they come and go and nobody's. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that once you start working it and once you start getting into it, it's like you're with the person and you just try and make it work, and you're not. You don't sit there and think, oh my God, it's Mick Jagger. Also, you just do it. So it sort of fades. But so I actually say it's more the expectation of what's going to happen when this legend walks into the room.
And he's great as well. And, you know,
Oh, yes,
you get lost in the
yes.
fact that he is playing this part. You don't, you know, it's just what you want.
Yeah.
Now, what's your kind of relationship with art? Are you a big fan
Yes,
of art? Is it something you
which is
fancy
one
since
of the reasons why I love coming to Venice, because I love the Biennale. I was just there the other day. I'm sort of an art buff. I like to go to museums, and I don't have sort of a preference. It's just, any old or new or modern or performance, whatever. Yeah.
Do you have a painting at home that sort of means, or a picture that means the most to you? Have you got something that you?
Not something that means the most to me, but I have stuff that I don't have anything really big or expensive. I have a lot of artist friends that paint, so I have a lot of their stuff hanging on my walls, on our walls, yeah.
No, sort of when you feel that you feel the most creative, what is it? Is it like sort of when you start looking into a character or script? Is it when you step on set? Is it at the end of a day when you've done a really, how?
When is that? I mean, what I think I really like most about my job is that sort of, is that process of, being with the other actors and the director and start working it and find, okay, so here's the scene, okay, it's supposed to look like this, and that's probably, and that's with film and television, but it's also for the stage. I mean, I think that's really that's really appealing to me, that sort of whole thing of starting to work it and make it into what we want it to be.
And that's what I like about this film. It's got that sort of element of like being with the stages, and there's a lot of set pieces with you with one other character, and then there's a lot of that kind of set up, which I think is really nice. Is that nice to work in that way, where you're sort of doing very intimate scenes with one person, and then you have different scenes?
Yeah, but it's like with everything is that's lovely, but it's also sometimes it's really cool that there's like a lot of shit going on and a lot of people. So there are. For this one, it's true, there are a lot of quite sort of one-on-one scenes, and yes, for this one, it really was a pleasure. Because they're quite well written, and you could just really slip into them, like, yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, if I'm trying to say something more, but I think it's a case of actually both. I like, sometimes the big setups where you have to do, where it's like a lot of people and all that shit going on. But sometimes it can also, it's really lovely to have a lot of, just one-on-one scenes, yeah.
And I also love the way with the Donald Sutherland character, your relationship with him and Berenice's relationship is very different, and they sort of both go down, you're quite frustrated, she sort of seems to take it all in.
Yes.
That's quite an interesting dynamic, isn't it?
Because she's like, but she's not there to get anything from him. And she does not know that I am. I need something desperately. I both need that interview, but I also need that fucking painting now. And she's just there for the fun, isn't she? Just going along for the ride and just enjoys that he's like this truly amazing and quite weird painter that stopped painting with paint and is now painting with nothing, which creates a big problem for me. Yeah.
It really does. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.